Okay, so for my project, I decided to make a security system using the Arduino IDE and a motion sensor. And then also I used a web server, IFTTT, which sends me an email when the motion is detected. So for the hardware, in this is the WEIMOS D1 Mini, and this is like an Arduino. It's a type of Arduino board with Wi-Fi capabilities. So like I could have used the Galileo, but this is just better form factor, and just because it's supposed to be a small thing, I decided to use this. And then the next thing is the PIR motion sensor. And then the last are just 3 female to female jumper cables. So another piece of hardware I did have to get is a soldering kit, which I guess if you already have one, that's all you need, but I had to get that to solder these pins because they did not come pre-soldered. So for the software I used in my project is the Arduino IDE program that lets me upload the code needed to the board. The other software was the IFTTT, which stands for if this then that. It's basically like a web server that allows you to create like a chain of conditional statements that are triggered by other web services. So show you what that looks like is IFTTT, and these are the motions that I have. So it sends me a notification from the app, and then it also sends me an email. So next up is the Arduino IDE, which looks like this. Basically, just plug in the board. You make sure it's the right board, which this is not right now, because this is not the computer I used to put in the code. And then you select the port, and then you also have to like download. You gotta go to Boards Manager and download like the WEIMOS board like specifically. But other than that, all you do is put in the code, upload it, and then you're good to go. Next is the programming. And this was the most important part of the project. Using the Arduino IDE and some code I found online, I programmed the board to connect to a hotspot on my phone and get that signal from the motion sensor to trigger the IFTTT statement that I made. The statement said that if the motion is triggered, then an email and app notification will be sent to my phone. I had to make 2 different events, but they're basically the same thing. Okay, so next for the step-by-step process. So what I started with is getting the board and soldering it. And then next, what I did was, all you have to do is get out your jumper cables, and connect the out pin on the PIR, which is the middle one right here. You connect this to the pin labeled D4 on the WEIMOS. So that looks like right here. I'm not sure if you can see it, but then you connect the VCC pin on the PIR sensor to the 5V, which the VCC is this one right here, and connect this right here. And then last, you get the ground pin and connect it to the other ground pin. And then once these are connected, it's basically done. The next thing I had to do was download the Arduino IDE software and download the drivers for the WEIMOS D1 that are in the software. Next, I used the sketch based from the code I had seen, and added my hotspot for my phone. I added the name and password in the area that it told me to. And then after this, I went on the IFTTT website and then got my API key, which is a string of letters that are tied specifically to my account, and let the WEIMOS communicate to the web server. Once the IFTTT is put in the code, I made the events on the IFTTT page and said that if said motion is triggered, then I'll receive a notification on my phone. And I did this as well with the email. And then once this was all done, I uploaded my code to the WEIMOS, plugged it in, and then you gotta wait about 30 seconds, and then the sensor will kind of turn on. And make sure it's like I had to make sure it was plugged in a 5-volt cable, because if not, I had a mistake the first time where I put it in, I'm not sure what the voltage was, but it ended up shorting out the WEIMOS. And then once this is done, it's pretty much ready to go, and we'll send you a notification. So for problems that occurred during my project, there were a lot of them. One, I didn't really have that much knowledge on coding, so it was really frustrating because for the longest time I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. And what ended up happening was the IDE had a problem with, the WEIMOS actually had a problem with connecting to networks with spaces. So my apartment Wi-Fi that they have is like apartment space 129, and then that's our Wi-Fi. So it wouldn't connect, and I also couldn't tell if it was connected or not, because I just couldn't like get into the network and see what was connected. And this was the main problem I had. I remember specifically actually wanting to quit because I couldn't figure out how the heck to get it to work. And I remember my last resort was in class. I was on my phone and I was like, I'll just try a hotspot. So I put it on. It never said it connected, and I raised my hand to call you over, I remember. And then it connected, and while you came over, it started working for the first time. So that was my main issue, and I finally figured it out. The other problems I had were with, I had to buy a lot of the WEIMOS boards. Like this one, the one I had just connected and stuff and done like this cord goes here, the step-by-step process. This is actually one of the boards that was dead on arrival, which sucks, because I had 3 of them. And then one of the other boards I had shorted out with I think I tried to use like an Apple charger or something, or like the Apple block, and it ended up just completely shorting out. And then other than that, I think I had some problems with the if this then that website, because it was really hard finding like what the heck my API key was, and then also trying to figure out how like it connects to the code and stuff. But other than that, those were my main problems. Okay, so now to see the project in action. You can see I turned on my hotspot, plugged in the WEIMOS, and then see it connects right here. And then I'm going to take the camera because it will start freaking out if I grabbed it. But we've got the WEIMOS right here, right? And then when I like flash something by it or pick it up, it should. Sometimes it takes a second, because it takes 30 minutes to boot. Oh, yep, there we go. A motion was detected. So we see an activity. Motion detected, motion detected, motion detected. And it detects like almost every 30 seconds. So like sometimes if I, yep, see again. Now this is you can check the email as well. A motion was detected at home. And you can see the string of emails I get. So that's pretty much the project in action. And then I keep getting them because I just flashed my thing again. I'm going to unplug this because it will start to spam me. Or it won't spam me, but it's a really sensitive sensor. So almost almost anything will trigger it, and it senses like every couple seconds, so it'll give me a good amount of emails if I'm like messing with it a little too much. But basically, my plan with the project going forward, now that you've seen it in motion and stuff, is just like putting it on our door and whatnot, and then it working. So that's my project.